About 4 months ago I decided that I was going to vinyl wrap my SURRON Lite BX, and 4 months down the line, that is what vinyl wrap looks like. Although the vinyl wrap did change the look of the bike and made it look somewhat fresh for a small amount of time, it started to peel off, it started to tear, and it started to wear. The material is really thin, like you see in this pile. It's dead thin, sticky material, and the bike was looking a little bit sorry for itself. Fortunately for me, that's where Race Nation GFX comes in. They got in touch with me and said, hey, let's design a graphics kit for the SURRON, get the bike looking how it fully deserves to look. So working with Race Nation GFX, once again we're going to be changing the complete look of my SURRON Lite BX, giving it a complete new design, and hopefully this one's going to be a lot more permanent. But first things first, we've got to get this filthy bike back to a clean state, so we've got a clean slate to start with. So let's jump into cleaning this bike. So we now got all the old graphics off the bike. Bike is completely cleaned and prepped and ready for this new graphics kit to start being put on the bike. So now it's getting dark outside, I guess it's time to head into the graphics kit studio, aka my garden shed. So we're finally completely ready to start putting the Race Nation graphics kit onto my SURRON Lite B, but before we start, here's a few things I'm going to use just to help the process. We got some spray alcohol cleaner which we're going to spray over each part of the bike before applying each piece of the vinyl kit so it sticks properly and it sticks to a fully clean surface. Even though we've cleaned over the bike, this is going to help out massively. Next we got a little X-Acto knife so we can trim off any excess, and then we've got a little squeegee so we can go over each part and make sure it's fully stuck to the bike properly as well. Then finally we've got a hairdryer style heat gun. This is going to help heat up each part of the kit, getting it stuck to the bike and hopefully bending any of the stickers around each part of the bike that we need it to bend to. Plus with the heat it will help the adhesive stick properly and better to the bike. So this is the first piece of wrap that I'm actually going to show you. This is the actual design that I went for. This is the only bit I'm going to show you before we start putting it onto the actual bike. And this will show you the sort of finish that we got. We got a bit of a glitter finish in there. We've got the Fox logo and the Race Nation logo on here. We've also got the orange and blue colours camo theme on here. When Race Nation said he wanted to send me a graphics kit to put on the bike, we spoke about all the options and he spoke about designs that I could choose. He made it really easy to communicate with him. He made it really easy to choose an option. He basically left me with full creative control, asked me what I wanted on the bike. I told him some logos that I wanted on there. I showed him a design that I liked. He threw it all together, sent me the blueprints, and I said, yeah, let's go ahead, let's put it on the bike. So without further ado, let's start putting this kit on my SURRON Lite B, and this is going to be the first piece that we actually apply to the bike. Let's do it. So with the timer started, I placed the first piece on the bike and sized it up to make sure it was the right piece. Then I moved on to cleaning the area, making sure it was going to stick as best as it possibly could. Then I peeled off the graphic, and you can see on the backing that it's got the bubble-free technology. Then I carefully started to place the graphics onto the bike. Then went over with the squeegee to make sure there was no air bubbles. And with the first piece then stuck on shortly after, we had a few more pieces stuck onto the bike, and I could really see this graphics kit was going to look an absolute treat. Then it was a simple case of rinse and repeat for the rest of the bike. The graphics were really easy to work with and had cutouts to help you bend certain pieces around certain pieces of the bike. For the majority of the kit it was just a case of pressing down on the graphics, making sure it was stuck. Then it was a case of applying a little bit of heat to make sure that each piece had fully bonded to the bike. With the bike half done, I took a look at the timer and we were on 38 minutes. Then it was time to crack on with the rest of the bike. And you can see here how easy it was to apply this battery piece, which has a lot of awkward curves and crevices underneath. Then once again we applied a bit of heat, and that was the battery finished and looking absolutely perfect. Then finally, after 1 hour and 35 minutes, I was finished. So it's now been a few days since we finished putting the graphics kit onto my SURRON, and I am still madly in love with how good this bike looks. It has completely changed the bike. Looks way better than I ever thought it was going to. Obviously I had an image in my head of how I thought it was going to turn out, and no matter how much you run through your head that image of how you think it's going to be, it always turns out different. But this has turned out different, but for the best. I think it looks so good. But I guess now it's time to get on the bike and talk a little bit about Race Nation themselves. who they are, what they do, and how they do it. So when Race Nation reached out to me and said they wanted to make a graphics kit, I obviously had a quick browse the graphics kit that they previously did for people, and it's not just SURRONs they do graphics kit for, it's all sorts of motor vehicles, motorbikes, probably quads, Talarias, SURRONs. I think they do the whole package. And looking at the graphics they'd already done for people, again, it's hard to tell from a photo what these graphics are actually going to look like, and it's hard to sort of envision in your head whether you think they're going to look right on the bike or not. But taking a quick look at what Race Nation had already done with people, I knew that they were going to be good graphics. I knew they were going to turn out well. So while talking with Race Nation, they told me a lot about how they run their business, how they do things, what materials are used, etc, etc. So I thought I'd go through that information with you. And Race Nation like to use a material called Substance to make their graphics, and it's the same material that all of the factory motocross teams use, which, well, surely that tells you something. If all these big teams are using them, then surely they're good graphics. And this material they use is a very high durable material, and you can really tell when you have your graphics in your hands how thick and nice the material is. And you can just tell it's going to be nice material, A, to put on your bike, and B, to protect your bike. Even though it is a sticker kit and it can still get damaged, it does protect your frame. Feeling the thickness and the durability of it, I definitely agree that it's high quality stuff. And not only is it high quality, it is the best quality you will get for graphics. This graphics kit also has bubble free technology, so applying it to the bike and getting it on there air bubble free is actually a breeze. I actually found it so nice when I was fitting this kit to actually get it applied to the bike, squeegee it onto the bike, and get rid of all of them air bubbles. There wasn't many bits that I actually had to try and heat up and manipulate the wrap with. A lot of it was just dead easy fitment, stick it to where you want it on the bike and just push those bubbles out, and they came out an absolute treat. Honestly, there's not a lot on this bike that I'm not happy with when it comes to bubbles. And not only that, the material they use is extremely flexible, as well as it being high quality and durable. And it needs to be flexible to bend around all of the curves and the shapes on the SURRON. A lot of the pieces actually have little cutouts to show you sort of where to bend the graphics onto the frame of the SURRON, which A, makes it easier to see where the bits need to go, and B, makes it really easy to bend it around the bits of the frame. And again, the material really helps out with that, with how flexible and easy it is to use. When printing these graphics, Race Nation use a very high density ink, and they also use high DPI resolution. So when you receive your graphics, you can see how good the quality is in them. You can look at them and you can see there's no pixelation. And obviously with the high density ink, it's making those colours pop, and it's making them look as bright and as clean and as nice as possible. And again, when you have the graphics in hand and you have them in person and you're looking at the graphics, you really can see that. The colours on this bike, especially in the sun, seem to look really, really nice. The orange turned out a bit different than I thought it was going to turn out, but again, for the better. I think it actually added to the look of the bike rather than being the same sort of anodized orange that I have scattered over the bike. It's nice to have a little bit of a different tone in there for the graphics. Sets it apart and makes it look a real treat. Another thing that I was really pleasantly surprised about when I received the graphics is A, how they were packaged, and B, that they were already cut into individual pieces. So the way they were packaged was just two flat pieces of cardboard, one on top of the other, and the graphics were in between, and then just taped around the edges. So for me, I actually quite liked this because it keeps all the graphics flat in the package, and although it could still probably bend and fold, there's not much chance of this cardboard bending and folding. So when the graphics do arrive to you, they're in a nice flat condition. They're not on a roll that has been rolled up. Again, when other companies make their graphics kits, they tend to basically just print the graphics and then have it on a roll and send you the roll, whereas Race Nation cut each piece of graphics, each separate piece, up individually. So when it came to actually finding out where it went on the bike, it was dead easy. I believe that cutting out these pieces individually so the customer hasn't got to do it is a big move from Race Nation, because it's just such a time consuming thing, either trying to cut the graphics out yourself individually or actually holding it out on the full roll. If you keep them on the full roll, you can't really hold it up against the bike and see where it's going to fit. If the graphics are on a roll, you have to unstick it and then hold it up to the bike, but then you always have the potential risk of sticking it to the bike somewhere you don't want to, and then you're trying to pull it off and you can get in a right mess. So definitely 10/10 to Race Nation for packaging and shipping the graphics like they do. And Race Nation can also do any finish, pretty much any finish and any design you like. So the finishes that they say they can do is standard, holographic and chrome finishes. They can do any type of glitter finish. They can also do any type of matte finish. So really the options for just for the finish on the wrap and that sort of how it actually looks, whether it's glossy, whether it's matte, whether it's got sparkles, whether it's not got sparkles, whether it's a flat finish or a really shiny finish, they have options for just about everything. So making your mind up is not going to be an easy task. I know for me, I roughly had an idea what I wanted, but even still, making a full decision of what I wanted on this bike wasn't easy. So when you go to design your graphics, you can get in touch with Race Nation. I pretty much just sent them a photo of a bike that I like the looks of, told them a few slight differences that I wanted, told them what logos I wanted thrown on the bike. They basically designed the whole thing. They put the logos where they thought they'd fit right. They pretty much brought my creation to life, all on a computer, ready for me to see in the form of the finished graphics kit. And then they sent me that as a photo. I basically took a look, gave it the go ahead, said yeah, I'm happy with that. Once you give the okay, Race Nation will print off your design and get it sent to you. And the speeds they do this is actually pretty incredible. So within 2 to 3 days they will have your design drawn up on a computer and they'll send you that design, and then you can make any tweaks that you want to make, and you can pretty much tweak and perfect your whole graphics kit just online, just looking at a picture. And then once you sign it off and you give the go ahead, Race Nation will print off your graphics and ship them to you within a matter of days. The reason that this sets Race Nation apart from other graphics companies is whenever I've looked at other graphics online, there's normally quite a long lead time from when you actually order the graphics to when you receive them, and that's even if they're not custom. That's just normal printed graphics. If they're custom ones, then it can take, you know, a month, if not a month and a half, to fully get your graphics designed and printed out and sent out to you. That shows the dedication to the customers that Race Nation have, where they will quickly draw up your design and get it how you want it and how you want it looking, and then send it straight out to you as quick as they possibly can. Even though Race Nation sent me this graphics kit, and even if they never send me another one again, I am going to always go back to Race Nation for my graphics kits now, just because of how they've made this whole experience, how it's been from start to finish working with them, and then the quality of the actual product itself. I think no matter what price you pay for these graphics, it's going to be worth it. So just nipping on to the subject of price and how much the graphics kits are going to cost, well, it's hard to give you a definite answer because all the graphics kits are going to cost slightly different depending on what design you want, what finish you want. There's obviously loads of different options, as explained earlier, on what you can have with these graphics kits. So really the choice is yours. Obviously the standard graphics are going to be cheaper. When you start going into your glitters and your chromes and your holographics, it's going to be more expensive. But what I will say is, with Race Nation, no matter what price you are paying for your graphics, just know that you're paying a quality price for a good service, a great product, and all round a great experience from start to finish. So guys, that's going to conclude this video on fitting the Race Nation graphics kit to my SURRON. I'm going to say it once again, I'm dead happy with how this turned out. The bike looks incredible, the product itself is absolutely incredible. From start to finish, this has been a 10 out of 10 experience. If you do want to get in touch with Race Nation Graphics to either design your own kit, take a look at the kits they already make, or any other reason, then their TikTok, Instagram and Facebook will be all down below in the description of this video. I'll also put the Race Nation Instagram on the screen right now. I highly recommend that if you do want a graphics kit, at least inquire with Race Nation to see what they can do to sort you out the best graphics for your SURRON, Talaria, MX bike, quad bike, whatever it is. You get in touch with them and I'm sure they will help you out like they helped me out to make my SURRON look as good as it possibly could. If you've enjoyed watching this video, make sure you're giving this video a thumbs up, leave your comment down below on how you think the bike looks now. If you are new here to the channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button for more content to come in the future on the SURRON and all these other electrical vehicles. With all that being said and done, I'm Matt Francis signing out. Peace.